last meeting you had.
All right, looks like it's 4 p.m. So I will call to order this meeting of the Salina Heritage Commission for September 25th, 2024. There is a request that staff confirm the Kansas Open Meetings Act has been properly provided.
Yes, I can confirm that the packet was posted and the required notice was provided.
Okay. And then item 1.3, roll call.
I'll go ahead and call roll. Commissioner Sydow.
Here.
Commissioner Sorrell.
Here.
Commissioner Gilmore. Commissioner Manges.
Mangus. Here.
Commissioner Gillum.
Here.
Commissioner Triplett. And Vice Chair Martin.
Here.
So we do have a quorum of 5 members for today's meeting, which will allow us to proceed with today's meeting agenda. And that will be, we do have a set of minutes for you, and then we'll move to administrative items.
Okay. Item 2.1 is the approval of the minutes from the special meeting held on June 26, 2024. If you want to take a few minutes to look over those, if you have any questions, go ahead and ask them now of the staff.
I move we approve the minutes as presented.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
A second.
Okay. I have a motion and a second to accept the minutes as presented from the meeting on June 26, 2024. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Meetings from June 26th have been approved. Looks like there is no public hearing items. So next is the item 3.1, annual business meeting, election of officers.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. This is the annual meeting in September is generally the time for commissioner orientation and training, and the annual meeting of the Heritage Commission, and which is involving the election of new officers. And so we currently have 7 appointed members, 2 of which are present or absent today. Last term, Tom Sydow served as the Planning Commission's representative on the Heritage Commission, and he has agreed to serve another term. And he was reappointed on Monday by the City Commission to another term. And we had 2 members whose term expired who did not seek reappointment. So we have 4 carryover members, and we have 3 new members. And so the annual meeting in September involves the election of board chair and vice chair for the coming year. And last term, Chris Mikesell served as commission chair, and he's no longer on the commission. Mr. Kyle Martin served as vice chair this past year. He is eligible for another term as vice chair. In the case of the Heritage Commission, a member must serve on the commission for 12 months before they're eligible for the position of chair or vice chair. So all of our carryover members are eligible for the position of chair or vice chair. And there is nothing in the bylaws that preclude the Planning Commission representative from serving as a chair or vice chair as long as they've served on the Heritage Commission for at least a year. So we have 2 orders of business for this afternoon, and one is to elect a chair for the coming term, and one is to elect a vice chair, and they would serve until the next annual meeting in September of 2025. So at this time, I would see if there are any nominations from the commission to fill the position of chair of the Heritage Commission.
Kyle's doing such a good job. I think we should nominate him for chair.
Second.
So we have a nomination of Kyle Martin to serve as chair for the coming year, and that was seconded by Mr. Sidell. Okay. And are there any further nominations that anyone would like to put forward? Seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor of Kyle Martin serving as the Heritage Commission chair for the next term, please say aye.
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 Okay. I will now open the floor to see if there are nominations for the position of vice chair who serves when the chair cannot be present at a meeting. Or anyone who'd like to put forward a name for vice chair?
David or Maggie, you guys interested?
I was just going to say that.
We
Nominate
can't.
Maggie.
We can't? We can't. We haven't been here a year, right?
Yeah, the only people that are eligible are Mr. Gilmore, who's not here, Maggie Gillum, Kyle Martin, who's just been elected chair, and Mr. Sidell, who has served a full 12 months on the Heritage Commission. So it's the way that the bylaws are written that someone has to serve a full year before they're eligible to be a officer. So right now, Mr. Gilmore is not here to defend himself, but you have a choice between Mr. Gilmore, Maggie Gillum, or Tom Sidell are the eligible nominees for the position of chair.
I make a motion, we vice chair Maggie.
Okay, we have a nomination put forward that Maggie Gillum be appointed or elected to the position of chair. Is there a second to that motion?
I second it.
Okay, so we have now a motion and a second. Are there any further nominations for the position of vice chair? Seeing none, I'm going to call the question. All members in favor of Maggie Gillum serving as vice chair for the coming term, please say aye.
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 Okay. So you have fulfilled your duties as far as the annual meeting goes. And at this time, we will modify the roster to reflect that Kyle Martin is chair and Maggie Gillum is vice chair. I don't think we have any unfinished or other business unless there's a question or something that a commission member would like to put forward to staff. We do have a quarterly meeting scheduled for the end of October, and as I noted, we've had a few conversations with people about that might be bringing some projects forward. One thing we're not always sure about is that we sometimes have property owners who are, unbeknownst to us, working on a National Register nomination. We've had 2 buildings on the Kansas Wesleyan campus nominated for the National Register, and so when that occurs, those are brought to the Heritage Commission for the Heritage Commission to make a recommendation on whether they think the property is worthy of National Register recognition. And so when those occur, we'll generally schedule a special meeting. But at this time, we don't have any pending applications that we're aware of. So if any of those commissioners present has any questions for staff that came to mind from your study session or just what you see in the community, we're open to any questions you might have.
In the past, or maybe a couple meetings ago, we had talked about looking at doing another historical resource survey.
Yes.
Is that been talked about anymore?
It has been talked about on a staff level, and I think maybe been discussed some at that meeting, but it sounds to us from what we've been discussing internally that would be a good 2025 goal, and there is funding available at the state level. There's consultants that would need to be out there, but what we really need is a staff member to make that their project. And right now we have some strategic plan items from the City Commission for 2024 that we need to devote all our staff time to. So it would seem to us that the updated survey would be a good 2025 goal and project. But we do recognize that 1985 is a long time ago. It makes it almost a historic document. So. So I know there have been quite a number of delays that have occurred, but I believe the correct address was 619 South Santa Fe. But that was a home that came before the Heritage Commission. It was in the historic district, and it was declared to be a dangerous structure by the city. And after multiple delays, I think there was a contract let to get that demolished. And I think the thing that most surprised city staff, and I think the contractor, was the number of tires that were in the basement of the property. And it's that when the demolition began, they were identified an incredible number of automobile tires that were in the basement of that structure that had to be carried out and had to be disposed of separately. But that was not something that was anticipated as part of the demolition. But the city has been, it's a 1986 building, so it's not historic, but the former Holiday Inn Holidome, later Ambassador Inn, has been condemned as a dangerous structure, and there's been an order to have it demolished. There's some things that the owner is doing it late in the hour to try to propose some renovation and reuse of that structure, but right now it's under an order for demolition to proceed. And so while it's not a historic structure, it is one that has deteriorated pretty rapidly and has a lot of moisture and mold damage to it, and is not being maintained or not being secured all that well. So, but we have hired our preference is always for renovation and upgrades, but when a property's gone too far, we have hired a code enforcement officer whose sole duty is to work to accelerate our removal of structures that are truly dangerous to the neighborhoods that they're in. And so there's an increased emphasis on eliminating vacant, dilapidated structures that don't really have any prospect of being rehabbed. So you may see or observe more demolition activity around than you have in the past because the city's being more aggressive in that area. So with that, I don't think we have any other further items for you. I don't see anyone present. We don't have anyone on Zoom, do we, Dustin?
We don't have anybody from the
So
public
I don't
online.
see anybody here for a public forum. So we have nothing further for you if the chair wants to entertain a motion to adjourn. So.
Okay. Yes, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Okay. Do I have a second?
A second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.